Welcome to Botanical Beauty, formerly known as the Herb Nerd Podcast. After a few years on hiatus, I am back ready to explore the enchanting world of botanical skincare and Ayurveda. I am Monica Eakin, the owner of Botanical Beauty, and I am thrilled to guide you on this journey to uncover the secrets of natural beauty and holistic wellness. Join me as we nurture your skin and soul with the wisdom of nature. Let's unlock the secrets to radiant, healthy skin together. It has been a sweet minute, hasn't it? It's been at least 7 years since I released the last episode of the Herb Nerd Podcast. I have changed the name of the podcast. We are no longer the Herb Nerd Podcast, although we love herbs. We are Botanical Beauties, and the podcast name is Botanical Beauty. We're going to be talking about Ayurveda, which comes from India. It's a 5,000-year-old science that helps us balance our mind and connect to our bodies and feel good. It promotes vitality, health, wellness. And we're going to be talking about skincare as well, in particular holistic skincare and herbs, all the good things. I am inspired to share with you just the things that I love so that they can help you feel better in your mind and your body, and your skin can glow better because you're feeling better. So I just want to share with you these little hacks and little things that I normally share with my clients in the treatment room. I'm going to give you a little story here. I'll try to make it a little short. Sadly, I went through a divorce. I was married to my husband for 12 years. During that time, I was a very sad woman. I was very sad and I was very mad. I wanted to burn down the world because I was so upset. Going through a breakup, in particular a divorce, is something that can be very, very painful. So I listened to my friends because they knew I was suffering, and they all said, Monica, just focus on yourself. And I listened to them, and here's the thing. If you're ever going through hardship, or a friend is going through hardship, that's a really kind thing to share with someone, is to tell them to focus on themselves. So one day I was in my bedroom and my daughter was at school and I was all alone and I felt so lonely inside. And I asked myself, what do you really want? And I said it 3 times out loud. And I felt this shiver come up my spine, from the base of my spine. And I instantly knew that this desire was being released from me. And I said out loud, I want to be an esthetician. And I was so delighted when I actually allowed myself to say those words. I was excited. I was like, oh, this is my new focus. I don't have to be crazy anymore and upset. I can focus on myself. I have something therapeutic to work on. So anyhow, I ended up going to the Ayurveda Institute, which is a holistic school for estheticians in San Francisco. And I think the program was about 6 months, and I had to get on a bus, and the trip was 2.5 hours each way, and I would do that 3 days a week while working. So it was a lot. At the time, I was a massage therapist, and I just knew in my core, as much as I love massage, I just knew as I was approaching my 40s that was a profession that probably I didn't want to be doing my whole life. Because at that point, I think I had been doing it for 20 years. So I'm really glad that I made that pivot, because today I have my own business called Botanical Beauty, And I see clients 5 days a week, the most lovely people ever. I adore my clients. They're like little dolls that I get to pamper. And everyone glows when they're done, and they just have the prettiest smiles on their faces. And I just love my job. I get to work with herbs. I make all sorts of little herbal products to use on my clients. And I'm so glad I allowed myself to be quiet and ask myself what I really, really wanted. And I'm so glad I ran with it. So it was a lot of hard work, but I knew at the end it would be worth it. And it is worth it. So are you ready to talk about herbs? I am. Oh, I've been waiting so long. It's been 7+ years. Here we go. Let's talk about marshmallow root. All right. I live in the Sierra Nevadas in California, and there is not much humidity here. And in the wintertime, it gets so dry. Everyone gets a little crunchy in the skin region. So let's talk about dehydrated skin and how you can identify whether you have it or not. And then we'll talk more about that fun herb that I love, known as marshmallow. So signs of dehydrated skin. So when you look at your skin, are you noticing dullness? The skin might look a little grayish. It just doesn't have that sparkle that it normally has. The reason why it does this is it's struggling to reflect light back to you. So dullness is a sign of dehydration. A sure sign of dehydrated skin, you're going to see more fine lines. You might look in the mirror and think, oh gosh, I feel like I aged really fast and it's only been like a day. What gives? Certainly lifestyle can lead to dehydration. We'll talk more about that. But that fine line gives the skin like a crepey texture. You'll notice this around the forehead. That's where I normally see it. Or the nasolabial fold. So that's your smile lines. I also can see that in my area of my face. And then also the eyes. These areas can show fine lines really fast. There can be a tightness. Are you taking a really hot shower and you get out and your skin feels so tight? Chances are your skin is pretty dehydrated, and that hot water is certainly not helping. Another thing I see is sensitivity. This is so interesting, but dehydrated skin can increase the likelihood of you having more irritation, more redness, more sensitivities to products, maybe products you've used on your skin and now you're having a reaction and you're like, what's going on? I've always used this cream. And the reason why is the skin barrier, that outermost layer of your skin gets a little compromised. So that's another thing that you can look out for is, do you have more sensitivity? And then lastly, you can have some flakiness. So I'll get that in my forehead sometimes, as my forehead will get a little flaky if it gets dehydrated. And here's a little technique that you can use to gauge your skin's hydration levels. So take your fingers, your thumb and your pointer finger. While looking in the mirror, I want you to pinch your forehead and then release. And what we're doing here is we're looking at the bounce back. So how long does it take for your skin to go flat once you let go? If your skin is taking a long time before it flattens out, that means it's really dehydrated. And then that is definitely telling you, oh, hey, it's time to to really work on hydration. So this is something that you can do weekly, or when you do your skincare routine, is just get to know like the hydration levels in your skin. You don't need a fancy device. I know they have hydration detecting devices like a scan that you can use on your skin. And that's interesting. You get a number. I bought one a long time ago, and then I ended up throwing it away because in the end, I like the pinch test the best. So we're going to learn how to listen to our skin. Our skin is having a conversation with us, but it's like a different language, a language that's older than words. And so I really want to help teach you how to listen to your skin so that you can give your body exactly what it needs. So if you're noticing that your skin is dehydrated, there's a few things that you can do. Think about the products that you're using on your skin. Your skin is wanting more water, so you can use a hyaluronic acid or maybe some aloe vera. There's an aloe vera that I love to get from Amazon. It's 99% organic. And I like to put that on my skin every now and then, and it really does help hydrate it. You can also use products containing glycerin, but make sure that you put a thick layer of moisturizer on top of those ingredients. Once they're massaged in, layer with a thick, occlusive moisturizer. It will certainly be helpful. Sometimes a sheet mask over a moisturizer for 30 minutes can be another nice way to lock that hydration into your skin. Perhaps your skin is a little bit dry and dull, so you're looking in the mirror, it looks like not so glowy. Perhaps your skin is needing some light exfoliation, so I like to use products that contain enzymes. Enzymes come from plants, and they help remove the dead skin cells without stripping the barrier of your skin. So I prefer not to use enzymes every single day. In some cases I would if someone had like super oily skin that tends to clog. They can handle enzymes daily, but for most people, an enzymatic cleanser or enzymatic exfoliating product a few times a week is great. Last but not least, I want to stress the importance of using sunscreen, as UV exposure can certainly worsen dehydration. Now let's talk about herbs. I want to highlight a beautiful herb known as marshmallow roots. It does not taste like marshmallow. I hate to disappoint. It has such a lovely name though. So the traditional use of marshmallow and Western herbalism, it's been used to help soothe mucous membranes, skin, and the digestive tract. So if there's irritation, whether that be internal or external, marshmallow root is your friends. There are skin benefits to marshmallow root. So it is a humectant, so that means it helps attract water. It draws moisture into the skin. So it's also very calming for redness and irritation. So how do we use this plant and where do we get it? Chances are it's growing close to you. So I encourage you to reach out to a local herbalist and see if they're willing to take you on an herb walk so that you can learn to identify this beautiful plant. Another way that you can get a hold of this beautiful plant is to go to a natural food store. A natural food store that carries the herb in bulk, meaning the herb has been cut up into tiny pieces. That means cut and sifted, and it's been put in a large container, and you can weigh it out and buy your herb that way. There are also other ways to get this plant online through Mountain Rose Herbs or Frontier Herbs. There's many different herbal suppliers. So that is one way you can get a hold of the herb. So it is a humectant. It's going to help calm down the skin, and there's a few ways to use it. So internally, you can make a cold infusion by soaking 1 tablespoon of marshmallow roots in water overnight. So I like to do it with hot water first, like you're making a tea, and let it cool down. So we're doing like a hot infusion, and then we're doing what is known as a cold infusion. And sip this throughout the day, the next day when it's cooled down. So that's really great for like public speaking. Actually, now that I've been talking for so long, I'm like, wow, I could really use some marshmallow tea. It's going to help soothe your throat. It's really great for sore throat. It's great for digestive issues, hyperacidity. Externally, you can take this same tea that you made and put it in a little spritzer bottle, and now you have a wonderful toner. This toner will only last so long, right? It's going to go bad after a while. So keep it in the fridge for like a week. You can spritz it on your face, or you can pour this really nice tea onto a little piece of cotton and put that on your skin. But it's super wonderful for hydrating the skin. Oh my gosh, you know what you could do? Oh, this would be so much fun. You could take like some washcloths and totally saturate it with the marshmallow root infusion that you made, and like lay that on your skin and lay down for like a half hour. Just let it all soak in. Just give yourself a little space to breathe. Like, you don't want to waterboard yourself. I mean, you love herbs, but that's maybe taking it a little too far. But that would just be so nice. In fact, I should do that to my clients. I'm getting inspired. Look at this. Talking about herbs. Fun, exciting things happen. Another way I like to hydrate my skin in the winter time is to use a nice toner. When I think of toners, before I was an esthetician, I have memories of like Bath and Body Works. Ew. Like, I would use a toner when I was a teenager and it would burn my skin. And that's how I knew it was working. Or in the 90s, for some reason, we were obsessed in the US with just like taking all the oil out of our skin and looking gray. I don't recommend it. But luckily these days, we have learned that that is not a good thing for our barrier of our skin. Their skin likes to be moist. So I have a product that I make. It is called Florifusion. It's a combination of 10 different hydrosols. These are waters extracted from plants, and the hydrosols are very hydrating and luscious. So I spritz my face and then I layer with moisturizer. So if you're in need of a really nice toner, reach out to me by going through my website, explorebotanicalbeauty.com. Go to my shop page. It's called Florifusion. You'll be so happy with it. It's very, very nice. Okay, let's talk about Ayurveda. I love this topic. It's so fascinating. Okay, so let's talk about the season of winter. Winter is ruled by an energy in Ayurveda that we call Vata. Vata is spelled Vata. Vata is cold, it's dry, it's light. It's this like mobile energy. I like to think of the wind. It's really like represents the wind quite well. So when I say the word Vata, just think the word wind, and that will be very helpful. So in Ayurveda, we are emphasizing the importance in creating balance by counteracting the qualities of Vata with warmth, moisture, and grounding. The wind is moving, it's light, it's dry, it's cold. We want to counteract that with the opposite. In Ayurveda, we use the opposite to heal. It's very simple, and I know it can get quite complex, but at its roots, it's very, very simple. It makes sense. So Ayurveda, it's a 5,000-year-old system of holistic medicine that comes from India. It's all about balance, balancing the body, the minds, and also learning to live in harmony with the environment. Okay, let's talk about a few tips to combat winter dryness because we want to reduce Vata. One way is through doing Abhyanga. Abhyanga is a Sanskrit word, and it just means giving yourself a massage with oil. We don't like to use a lot of chemicals on our body in Ayurveda because your skin has to digest that stuff. And if you can't even pronounce the name of the chemical in the bottle, like chances are you're not really benefiting from using it on your skin. So you can just use simple sesame oil in the wintertime. So how I like to do it, it might be a little different than other people who practice Ayurveda, but this is what I found works really nice for me. I'm all about the bedtime ritual for myself. Like I start decompressing like at around 8:30, even though I go to bed at 10, but I'm just all about that. So I tie up my hair and I take a little bath in the wintertime. I get out of the bath and then I lay down a little towel. And then I give myself an oil massage with sesame oil. You can get sesame oil at the grocery store. Just make sure you don't get the toasted sesame oil unless you want to smell like a toasted sesame oil person. So just a regular sesame oil will do. Massage it into your body, and then I just put on like long pajamas and I go to bed and I just saturate my body that way. Now, there are people who like to do this differently. They will do a light oily massage in the morning and then shower the excess oil off. You just have to figure out what works out for you and your rhythm. But for me, I find that doing that oily massage after my bath is really relaxing, and I get to spend time not really rushing through. Like I don't have to be anywhere except for bed. So sometimes I'll just like lay down on my bed and massage my stomach, and it's just like a really nice bedtime ritual. So in the winter time, you can use warm sesame oil, or you can even use like almond oil, but sesame oil is truly my favorite. If you go onto Banyan Botanical, they're like a pretty popular Ayurvedic website. They have oil that's called Vata oil, Vata, and this is oil that's been infused with herbs that are going to be very relaxing. So if you want to take it one step further, you can use a specific oil in the winter, like the Vata oil. Another way you can hydrate is through warm beverages. Stay away from cold, especially in the winter. Like it's kind of a hard habit to start, but like when you go out to eat, for example, like tell your waiter or waitress like no ice. And if they bring you a beverage with ice in it, it's okay. You can ask for a new cup of water that doesn't have ice. So ice is going to dampen your digestive system, and it's also like really disgusting. I hate to say it, but I just learned something recently that has made me never want to have an ice beverage again unless I'm making the ice. But a lot of these ice machines are like packed with mold. If you were to like deconstruct the ice machine and look inside, it's truly repulsive. So stay away from ice cold water, and replace with warm teas and spiced waters. Think like fennel or ginger or cinnamon, chai, like these beverages in the wintertime. They're the opposite of cold. Remember, we're going for warmth here. We want to focus on cooked food, grounding food like soup, stews, root vegetables. Avoid raw salads and icy drinks. Those foods like raw salads and such, really great for the spring and the summertime. But in the winter, it's all about like warm, nourishing, delicious food. Then there are also some herbs that are fantastic for dryness. So ashwagandha is a wonderful herb for your nervous system. There are many different ways to take ashwagandha. I should probably have a separate podcast for that. But there are also ways to take it in a capsule form or as a tea. You could also do licorice root, and then we talked about marshmallow root. And then probably one more little tip right here is you could do like a DIY face mask for dry skin. So how I would do this is just by mixing some oat flour, some honey, and maybe a little bit of sesame oil with like a few drops of lavender oil, maybe just 1 drop of lavender oil, and mix that together and just create a nice hydrating mask for your skin. It's anti-inflammatory, super hydrating. So those are some fun things to think about. So lastly, I just want to frame that dryness is an opportunity for self-nourishment. Winter asks us to slow down and replenish ourselves. It's an invitation to listen to what our body and skin truly needs. So ask yourself, what is it that you truly need? Chances are less movement. If you're like hustling and bustling, just stay still and breathe and allow time to do your abhyanga, your oily massage in the evening or the morning. Give yourself that. In the summer and the spring, like our energy is very much out there. We'll have our moment to shine. But in the wintertime, if you look at the plants, there's not a lot of plants blooming. The energy is in the roots. And so this is our time to replenish our water reserves, right? And to get caught up on that rest as well. Seriously, it's been so fun to talk about herbs and Ayurveda with you. Oh, I've missed you so much. Please let me know what you think of the podcast and leave me a 5-star review. I would appreciate it because it helps other people like you find the podcast. If you have questions about Ayurveda or herbs, I'll do my best to answer. You can send your questions to me at Explore Botanical Beauty. Just send me a DM. And if you're interested in the products that I make, I have my own line. Go to my website at explorebotanicalbeauty.com and check out my shop there. Thanks for listening.